Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another in retrospect video. Today we are looking back at my 2019 favorites and discussing how I feel about them now. Are they still my favorites? And yeah, this is just before my 2020 favorites go out. So you'll see that quite soon after this video. But I thought, well, I did it last year for 2018 and now it's nice to see what I think of my 2019 favorites. I think it's interesting also because 2019 and 2020 have been a lower spend years for me. So part of my journey to a more responsible makeup purchasing habits, something like that. So we're gonna talk about those products and it's quite nice to see what I loved last year. It was actually quite surprising, or not surprising, but it's different than this year. Spoiler alert. Anyways, let's get started immediately. I divided it in categories last year as well, and we start with foundations. My two favorite foundations were Dior Backstage and the Estee Lauder Double Wear Light. In 2020, I finished one of these Estee Lauder Double Wear Lights, the shade 3, and I still have the shade 2. This formula doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, so that is very sad, but I still have this one and I still love it. Same with the Dior Backstage. I actually didn't use it as much as I would have liked to this year because, as you can tell from the color, this is my summer shade, and in summer we didn't really go anywhere. I didn't wear foundation, so that was a little bit sad, but I still really love both of these foundation. I can still recommend them wholeheartedly. Powder wise, last year my favorite powder was the Peach Perfect by Too Faced, and I have to say that I didn't pretty much use it at all this year. It's quite mattifying and it looks really velvety, and you can see, yeah, there's quite a lot of powder still left in here. It's velvety and a little bit too heavy for me as I'm liking to do my makeup this year. So this isn't on my highest ranking for this year, but what it is that it did survive my declutter. It's the only loose powder that I kept because I still love that if I want something very matte and velvety and long lasting, I still have this powder. So my taste changed during the year rather than the quality of the product, so let's put it that way. For concealer, Maybelline Fit Me. I still have one of these. I finished one during this 2020 and I still love it. Absolutely. Great. The best, I think, concealer at the drugstore. Great dupe or alternative to the NARS one. And yeah, this will forever be something that I will repurchase. Yeah. Unless I go all high-end all the time, but this is such a great concealer. I don't see why I wouldn't. Two other powder products that I had loved in 2019 were my Hourglass Unlocked. This was released for holiday 2018, so I had just gotten it at the end of 2018. So by the end of 2019, I had used it for a whole year, and definitely still a very much beloved palette. I still own it. I still use it. It's so easy to use. I love that you have the setting powders, bronzer, highlighter, and two blushes. Like, this is all you need in principle. If I were more of a minimalist, this is all you need. This for the face. So still very much loving it. And this year you have it re-released in the new 2020 packaging. But of course I have it already, so I wouldn't have bought that one. And in 2019, the holiday collection was the Ghost collection for Hourglass, and they did for the first time their blush quads. And I mentioned this one as well in my favorites. I have to say, I love the formula, but the colors are not something that I use all the time. By chance, I'm actually wearing this. I'm wearing this shade right here on my cheeks right now, maybe mixed with a little bit of this one. But yeah, I don't know. I still like this one. Clearly, I still own it and use it, but I wouldn't classify it among my favorite blushes. There's other formulas that you'll see I'll mention in my 2020 favorites that are better. I like the colors more, I like the effect more. These are still super valid, but not my favorites for the year anymore. For bronzer, in 2019 I discovered the cream bronzers for the first time. So my favorite was the Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel. I still love it, I still use it quite a bit. As you can see, there's a dip in there. But I feel like the color could be better nowadays that I have tried, spoiler alert, my new favorite. I don't know. This is still great. I still have it. I want to use it. I would even like to maybe pan it. I don't know. I feel like this would take years to finish. But then again, you also see YouTubers who do finish it in a year. So I don't know. I still like it, but the color is, again, slightly too yellow for me. I'm coming to the conclusion that a lot of my bronzers are just too yellow and not red enough in undertones. So today I'm wearing... What do I have? Physician's Formula, for example, that is a bit more neutral, let's say, but still quite a bit yellow. And yeah, this one also has that problem. Still liking it and still have it, but not my favorite anymore. For brows, surprisingly, a pencil. Just like that. The NYX Micro Brow Pencil was my favorite in 2019. I have been... using this again, and we'll talk about it. Oh, we have talked about it in my declutter actually, where I did my base products and my brows. I will link it in the cards here. And I don't like that with pencils you cannot do this hair strokes. Like today I have quite what I liked. This is my favorite type of brows to do, just soap brows and with the pomade or a marker to draw in hairs. You cannot do that with these pencils. As small as this tip is, you cannot draw hairs with it. So this is not my favorite anymore, but I think I just fell out of love with pencils. Again, more of a change in my taste than the quality of the pencil. I still think it's a very valid pencil, just I don't use pencils anymore. And then no surprise here, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Gel in Auburn. This is my second one. So since my favorites in 2019, I went and bought a new one and finished the first one. This is my second one. I love this. This could be my one and only brow gel. Actually, I don't have it on today. Can you tell the difference? My brows are a little bit cooler toned without this one on. Love it. We'll talk about it again because I still love it. Still a favorite. Then we get into eyeshadow palettes, and my two favorites for 2019 were Soft Glam and Sultry. Now we've come quite a long way from Soft Glam and Sultry for me. I haven't used them a lot this year at all because, I don't know, I moved into Natasha Denona, a little bit that direction, and a lot of single shadows, and the fact that technology has improved so much that you don't have these were chunky, like sparkly eyeshadows once. And maybe I can actually swatch the difference of what I mean. Like I used to really love this gold, but you can see it's quite a flat shimmer. Now let me swatch next to it Oro from the Natasha Denona Gold palette, and you can see the difference in quality of the shadow, or this one also is from the Gold palette. Quality of the shadow, depth of the sparkle, and I don't know, different technology. I moved into that as well, also more indie brands like Cliona Cosmetics, lipstick on my teeth, like Cliona Cosmetics and things like that. It has changed. So I have not used Soft Glam very much this year. Sultry, on the other hand, I feel like has still a little bit more interest in it, simply because it's a cool toned palette. But even this one, I was using it yesterday actually to do a makeup look, and I realized that the color story is extremely similar to the Cutie palette by Nabla, but Nabla has again this amazing new texture that is their Celestial, and it's like a light base with a ton of glitter on top. And this is the type of shades that I'm gravitating towards this year, and so Sultry and Soft Glam are not my two favorite palettes anymore. They're still really great and I still own them because for a neutral palette, they have everything you need. And I like that Sultry has all of the cool tones that I might need if I want to have a more toned down, elegant type of makeup, work makeup, things like that. The two colorful palettes that I had mentioned in 2019 were my two Melt Cosmetics Gemini and Smoke Sessions. Still firm favorites, still great palettes. I have to say I haven't used them very much though. I don't know why, actually, I wonder. Again, disclaimer, this one has these two shades that are from Gemini because they're magnetic. That's something I found out this year. And yeah, these are great palettes. The quality is really good. To be honest, my Smoke Sessions works very well. I saw a lot of people decluttering it this year because they had maybe the first batch, which was like it released from the pan or grew in these shimmers especially. They would just, I don't know, like absorb humidity and expand out of the pan and break. Mine have not had that problem, so I bought it a little bit later than launch and I still love mine very much. Not my favorite palettes though of this year. It's actually quite nice to see how technological progress also moves your taste and what you can do with your makeup. I mean, look at this. This is now Glam Shop makeup or eyeshadows that I'm using on my eyes, and they are so impactful and so gorgeous. We're gonna have a swatch party in the new year once all of my Glam Shop stuff arrives because I still have an order floating around in the world, but I will do that, I promise. For single eyeshadows in 2019, I mentioned Lethal Cosmetics as my favorites. As you can see, since then I bought a few. We recently did a swatch party with all of my Lethal Cosmetics eyeshadows where I talk about each and every one. I compare all of the similar shades to tell you what I think about the shades and for you to see the difference. It was just before Black Friday so that everybody could see actually what to buy or what not to buy. Here is a little bit of a neutral selection that I have for them, and I also have this palette of more berry shades and this palette with my greens and yellows. And what I can say is I still love them. I still buy from them. They have very interesting colors. I think the uniqueness of the colors really make it an outstanding brand for me. The formula is good. I like their mattes, but they are not at the point of Clionadh Cosmetics or Divina Cosmetics where you have such interesting textures in their shimmers. They're quite traditional shimmers. They have just now recently released a multi-chrome, a few multi-chrome shades, and I bought one of them of the new shimmers and I'm gonna test it out and see how it is. I don't know yet, so I'll let you know. But they're not that up there with the technology or the innovation in the textures, but what they do really well is unique color stories. So still loving the brand a lot. For pencils, actually, still my favorites are still my favorites. We have the Kiko Gel Liners. This was from the Free Soul collection. Love this. I have it in a few shades. You've seen it in my declutter, again, my first declutter this year. We went through all of my pencil liners as well, and these ones are still my favorites. Then we have the NYX Faux Blacks. I used this, I wanted to pan this in 2020, so I used it a bit, and you can see that it's quite short, but the color now is a bit too warm, and I think I've moved more towards, I don't know, maybe neutral, more neutral shades, not only natural browns, but more neutral browns, no, so not so warm, and this is quite a warm brown. I still love it, still love the formula, I still have a few, love those. What I have been using even more this year is actually these two, which are Dagger and Night by Neve Cosmetics, because I've worn a ton of green this year. So definitely these, and I had mentioned in last year, Isla, which is the dark blue, also love it. Still loving all of these formulas for eyeliners. I don't use liquid eyeliners. I don't do wings. I today by mistake winged out my pencil liner a little bit too much. It made a mess. I had to, it was awful. So this eye is not as good as this eye, I find. personally. Close up at least. So those were for the eyes, and then I went into detail on my favorite lipsticks last year. There's plenty, and I have to say, still all firm favorites. You will see them in my lipstick declutter coming up soon, and I'll mention again, but I love them all. Last year I mentioned L'Absolu Lacquer number 515, the only one I have from Lancôme. Let me find it. This guy. Still loving it in summer. It's a beautiful coral, but it's also a lacquer, so it really works well to give shine to your lips, and it lasts a long time. Really love that one. The two MAC Powder Kiss that I have, which is Stay Curious and Sultry Move, both love them, and really great formula, really great, I don't know, shades for me. The Nabla Feather Matte lipsticks, I have to say, I still love the colors, but I've used them very little, and I think part of it is due to the fact that they're very hard matte lipsticks, especially Platonic Love, which is the most unique color, is a very, very hard, like retro matte style lipstick. And finally, the Fendi Stunna lip paint in Uncensored, and still a favorite. Unfortunately, mine is starting to smell fishy, and I can't bring myself to throw it away though. So I'm gonna keep using it until it's actually bad. But I have this since 2018, and unfortunately I think it's not going very, very well. I cannot read at the back to see how long the shelf life is, but I'm afraid this one is a bit of a shorter shelf life compared to other liquid lipsticks that I have, and that makes me very sad, but it's still the best red lipstick I own. It will forever be, I think. I don't know. I will keep repurchasing it every year if I have to, just to wear it 3 times. That sounds very stupid, doesn't it? But I love this. I just did a few Christmas looks, and I did my Christmas party for work in that lipstick, and I just love it so much. Anyways, that was the end of my 2019 favorites. Looked at it from this year. Still love all of the products. I still have all the products. Nothing went decluttered. Still love them. Maybe not all of them are on the top of my list anymore because new things have come in, and I think that's also good, but it's also nice to see that I still love everything. And yeah, I'm curious, do you still love the same things as last year? What is your opinion? Do we have any common favorites from last year or this year? I'm curious to hear in the comments below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And hopefully without any more lipstick on my teeth, I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!